Today, I'm in a county renowned for its waterways. Created in medieval times by men digging for peat, this county's system of dykes, rivers and broads is the largest stretch of wetland in England. Where am I? Find out in just a moment. In today's show, I'll be helping a businesswoman, accompanied by her niece, return to her family roots in the country. And finding her the right size house is just one of our many challenges.
I think by the time you get a sofa in here and a bit of furniture, it is a little bit on the tiny side.
But our mystery house throws other unexpected surprises into the mix.
I like this room. I like the size of the room.
Today, I'm in Norfolk. For almost 6 centuries, these 125 miles of waterways were crucial to the local economy, allowing goods to be ferried inland from the sea. Nowadays, though, as you might expect, it's tourism that pulls in the pennies for the county, and these broads attract around 7 million tourists here every year. If you're thinking of moving to Norfolk, you might be pleased to hear that the average price of a detached house in the county is around 6% below the national figure. Now, this is due in no small part to the geographical location of the county. If you live in the county town Norwich, then a commute to a major city such as London is fairly straightforward. But if you live further afield, you will struggle, certainly on a daily basis. But the perceived remoteness of Norfolk hasn't put people off living here. Last year alone, around 24,000 people found this county's charms simply irresistible. And here's an example of what's currently on the market. For just shy of £210,000, this converted Methodist chapel in Swanton Morley provides comfortable open-plan areas while still holding on to its original features, with an impressive galleried landing taking centre stage. Or for £598,000, there's this 6-bedroom barn conversion in Docking, whose high-spec open-plan kitchen flows through to a generous dining area with trademark vaulted ceilings and running theme. For deeper pockets, this impressive timber-clad barn conversion in Banham for £695,000 combines a harmonious mix of materials, from warm red brick in the kitchen to exposed beams in the studio. With a great selection of properties like that on the market and the chance that your money might stretch that little bit further, this could be promising news for today's house hunters. Let's meet them. Corporate event organiser Jane has roped in her niece Georgie to help her escape to the country, having spent the last 25 years in Romford, Essex. These two ladies have an incredibly strong bond and are certainly a dynamic duo.
Jane's a very vivacious character. She's very creative, actually, and has a lot of attention for detail, which is why she's so good at her job.
And Georgie is a very vivacious character. I wonder where she gets it from. And I think we've got a lot of similarity, haven't we? Similar interests, and I think it'll be great fun to be going to look for properties with Georgie.
Being close to family is key to Jane's move, and also important to Georgie.
Well, my dad lives in Norfolk as well, and obviously Grandma. We've got lots of aunts and great aunts and uncles in Norfolk, so whenever I get time off work, that's often where I tend to be. So it'd be great to have Jane there as well, because it would mean it'd be easier to see Jane now. And I'm looking forward to coming visiting in her new home, and hopefully I'll be able to come and stay. And Jane's fantastic at entertaining. She throws a wonderful party.
Besides wanting a property with plenty of character, Jane has a wish list that taps into her sociable lifestyle.
What I'm looking for is ideally open plan or rooms that connect, that work together. I really want a kitchen where I can have sort of people, friends round, and it's more informal area to entertain. I'd then like a nice large living room area so I could have large parties, nice views. I need a minimum of 2 bedrooms.
And the outside is important too.
Well, Jane's been talking about having this large garden. She definitely likes some outdoor space. She's even been talking about a bit of a vegetable patch, growing her own veggies.
And also, I quite fancy having chickens. Because I've never had space to have chickens, so it'd be rather nice.
She's also got artistic ambitions.
This is my favourite painting. It was painted for me by my mother, and it's a lovely scene of Norfolk. It really was something special.
And you were saying, Jane, you'd quite like to take up some art classes and maybe carry on the family tradition.
Well, I don't know if I can match Mother, but I'd like to try.
Continuing her business is a key priority for Jane, so she'll need an office. In addition, she wants her country home to earn an extra income, so if there was the potential for a holiday let, all the better. And with her house already sold, she's ready to go full steam ahead with this move.
My budget for the new property is £450,000 to £500,000.
At £450,000 to £500,000, I think Jane's budget should be more than adequate to give her the minimum of 2 bedrooms and the garden she's after. Views obviously come at a premium, but I think Jane's after quite an interesting mix of finding a period property that also gives her modern, open-plan interiors. Let's see if we can do Jane's handsome budget some justice. We'll be focusing Jane's house search around the Norfolk Broads where her mother lives, not venturing any further west than Norwich. We've selected 3 great properties to show her, but I won't be revealing the price of each until she's had a guess first. And finally, there's our mystery house, which will challenge Jane's preconceptions about what she really wants. I mean, what would you say are a couple of the most important parts of what you're looking for in a house then? Views, I take it, a 1.
Certainly.
What are the other things?
Not to be in a built-up area, because I've always had a city lifestyle. I want to be either on the edge of a village or in the countryside. I don't mind being in the countryside.
All right, but a community nearby then, I take it?
Yes, absolutely. And I'm hoping to get into the community and take up things like flower arranging, bird watching.
Totally immersing yourself in country life, which sounds like the right thing to do as well.
Yeah.
What's Jane's taste like then? Are we looking for something period or newer?
Well, Jane's often spoke about she does like sort of the barn-type exterior, but in her current home, she has a very modern interior, which she's definitely put her own stamp on. So I think she'd like something quite similar, or something that she can change the interior of to be quite modern.
For me, every time we look around the first property, it's a real sort of suck it and see moment. See how you react to things, and then we can go from there.
Fantastic.
We'll get in the car, we'll get on our way, shall we?
Wonderful.
Ideally, Jane would like to spend around £450,000, but she's prepared to go up to £500,000 for a perfect period property, which gives her a large open-plan kitchen diner, at least 2 bedrooms and a dedicated office. An annex with holiday let potential would be the icing on the cake, but a large garden with views is a must-have. We kick off our property search with location firmly in mind as we head for the village of Rockland St Mary. You wouldn't think that Norwich was under a 15-minute drive away from such a peaceful rural setting. As well as serving up a useful shop and post office, it's here where the River Staithe marks the start of the Rockland Broad. Just a 2-minute walk away is our first house, approached via its own long drive and, like Jane, possesses plenty of character. What do we make of this?
Wow. That looks really stunning. It's got lovely period characteristics about it, hasn't it?
It has, yeah, and it's funny enough, it isn't an old property. The plans for it were drawn up in around 1960, but I think the thatch certainly makes you think of an older period, but it's done very sympathetically, isn't it?
Certainly has done. I like it very much. Ticking a few boxes already.
Yes, well, that's what we're here for. Let's have a look inside.
Thank you.
Besides its great period style, the internal layout is thoughtfully designed for modern living. So I briefly want to pause in here, just because I think it's quite an impressive entrance hall, isn't it?
Yes, yes, nice size of entrance hall.
Now, there's a theme of wood throughout the home. You see the oak parquet flooring, a lot of timbers exposed throughout the whole property.
Probably not 100% to my taste, but I think I could work on it.
OK, so we're already seeing maybe some DIY, maybe a paintbrush or two. OK?
Possibly.
Well, if you want to lead the way through there, the living room's first up.
Thank you.
So what's our thoughts on this for a living room?
A nice size of room and a lovely aspect out onto the garden.
So big enough.
Yep. Ideal size.
You've been to your auntie's house before. How do you think she might have this room?
Jane currently has quite a contemporary interior.
Right.
And my impression is that she'd quite like to continue that theme. And although it's, you know, such a beautiful period property outside, you'd find it very difficult to convert the inside into with a contemporary feel, which have to be very, very carefully done.
Let's see what you make of this next one I'm going to show you.
Thank you.
Now, just mind the step here.
Thank you.
So, you tell me what you want this room to be. I think I'm pretty sure what I'm going to be hearing.
I think It would be an office, wouldn't it?
Yeah. But a lot of people, I find, they get crammed into a really small room when they have a home office. This is a great size room, isn't it?
Yes, yes, it is. Yes, yes.
You've got quite a few computers and things that you want to bring with you, so
Absolutely.
that space would be ideal.
This was built as a 4th bedroom. You've got an ensuite shower and loo. Would you have this as an occasional bedroom? Would you just want it as a dedicated office?
I think I'd need to consider a dedicated office.
OK. All right. Well, that leaves us with 3 bedrooms upstairs. Will that be enough?
More than enough.
Oh, great. OK. Now, for a lot of people, the next one I'm going to show you is the engine room of the home. Let's see what you make of it. So, the heart of the home, for most people, what do we think?
The kitchen units, they're nice, but they're probably... I could change those to maybe slightly more contemporary.
Well, because there's so much space in this kitchen, there's a lot that you can do with it. So, yeah, if you did want to take everything out and start again, you've got loads of options available to you.
The kitchen leads through to a spacious utility room at the back, and there's the relaxed layout she wanted for entertaining. So just looking through here, well, this is your dining room. It feels a little bit open plan, doesn't it?
It certainly does. I like the more informal style of living these days, where, you know, people can come into the kitchen, they can help themselves, or you can have a buffet out here. So, yes, I like that.
The dining room leads through to a timber-built conservatory, another great space for socialising, with French doors onto the terrace. We'll come to the garden later, but first, let's take a look upstairs. The 3 bedrooms include a good-sized twin room, and on the other side of the landing, the family bathroom has the luxury of a roll-top bath. There's also a spacious double room with built-in wardrobes. But next we'll explore where Jane would sleep. Now, the master bedroom has an ensuite just through there, recently refurbed. We're up in the roof here now.
That's right.
So, you know, you've got lots and lots of storage, even going out into the eaves if you like. How would you think you'd want to do this from there?
I imagine a sort of little, rather stylish 4-poster with some nice drapes and making it feminine. Maybe even bringing in a hardwood flooring or something, which I actually quite like.
Some people might find it a bit of a challenge trying to get sort of furniture to fit in with the eaves and things, but I think it just adds a lot of character to the place.
OK, so it sounds like you've got great imaginations. You can see through and past furniture. But I'm sure you're dying to get out to the garden, aren't you? So let's go there now. Jane seems pleased with the layout and room sizes of this property, but it's the gorgeous secluded garden that will hopefully win her over, as it's the perfect setting for some wonderful parties. All told, it amounts to around half an acre. You can see from the sun, it's a glorious west-facing garden. Real sun trap.
Isn't it?
Now, is it daunting for you, actually, Jane? I mean, there's a lot of garden here.
Yes, but it'll get me fit.
It'll get you fit, certainly will, yes.
It goes with the house. It's sort of the quintessential English garden in a way. It's lovely.
You've got a bit of everything here. You've got, you know, your formal sun terrace, and then you've got your vegetable patch in the corner. Now, that's the real hot bit of the garden. That gets all of the sun. How much do you think this house is on the market for?
Good question. I think about 450,000.
OK. What does Georgie think?
I think it's going to be maxing the budget, to be honest. I think it's going to be pretty close to £500,000.
Very good guess. It started life, apparently, at around £500,000. It's now on the market for offers around £489,000. So, now's the time for you to have a good look around the house without me there. Have a look at all the rooms you haven't seen yet and discuss amongst yourselves maybe what you like, maybe what you'd like to change as well. OK? I'll see you in about 20 minutes.
Thank you.
Enjoy. And I think enjoy is the right word. We've had great reactions throughout this home. And I think already, even though it's property 1, this could be a contender. Under budget of £489,000, this charming character property leaves Jane money left over to redecorate where she feels fit. It provides her with a large kitchen, 3 bright reception rooms, plus an office and 3 bedrooms with a master ensuite. The half-acre of landscape garden is stunning, and it's wrapped up in a village location in the heart of open countryside.
I hadn't originally thought that this might be the type of house that I would like, but It really has opened my eyes. I really love the feeling, it's got character. And yes, I love the garden. I think it has really got to be a great contender.
When we first walked in, I didn't think it was going to be Jane's cup of tea, but I think it's really opened her eyes to a different type of property that she would now consider, especially things like the large kitchen, the beautiful garden. She's really warmed to it, actually.
Did I give you enough time to figure out how you'd live in this house?
Yes, thank you very much indeed.
A lot of gardening to do, isn't there?
It certainly is.
Right, on to the next one. The Norfolk Broads are not only a natural haven for wildlife, but have also served as a source of inspiration for artists since the early 1800s, when the Norwich School of Painters were inspired by its remote flat landscape and huge dramatic skies. They painted with a fresh immediacy that's normally associated with French Impressionism, which actually followed a few decades later. One of England's finest landscape artists of the 20th century was Edward Seago, who was Norfolk born and lived in the Broadland village of Ludham for many years until his death in 1974. Seago's talent put him on the radar of the royal family, who invited him to paint at Sandringham. But one of his favourite subjects was much closer to home at St Benet's Abbey. As Jane is keen to renew her interest in painting once she moves here, earlier in the week we arranged for them to set up their easels and get a few tips from local artist Rachel Thomas.
In all my paintings I'll use an undercoat because then it'll shine through after when I start working on it. We'll do some marking out to start with, roughly where we want the abbey. Right, Jane, painting's coming on beautifully, doing really well. If you're using the really bright mauve, if it's too strong... I mean, I like your vibrancy, I think it's beautiful. I think it'd be even more dramatic if it was not as vibrant all over.
Yes.
I have lots of people who come to me when I'm teaching and they tend to bring photographs and things. And particularly if you're not working from life, always work from life if you can, but it's not always easy. And if you're not working from life, you need to squint. You need to get rid of some of that detail, otherwise you get bogged down in it.
As the only monastery not to be included in Henry VIII's dissolution, the surviving 14th century Abbey gatehouse is offset by a windmill built 400 years later, making it a wonderfully iconic subject to paint.
Isn't there nothing better than sitting here on a beautiful
it's stunning.
summer morning,
Stunning.
just with the birds singing, and it's just relaxing.
With such a rich artistic heritage rooted in this landscape, it's the perfect location for Jane to turn her hand to a tradition that runs deep in her own family. Our house search edges closer to the coast. 9 miles inland from Cromer is the village of Felmingham, whose 15th century church tower stands tall above the surrounding fields and where local produce is readily available. Our second property has plenty of gardening potential and history attached to it. Now, I know you like the period style of some of the first house. This is period, OK?
Right.
So the middle part of the property is the old farmhouse, OK? That's probably mid-18th century. Coming to the end, you can see a Victorian extension, almost the same size, actually. And then the far end, you've got a modern extension.
Wow.
What's your first impressions?
It looks most unusual, and I like the location. We're right out in the heart of the country here.
You really are. So what do you think, Georgie?
Well, on a personal level, I quite like it. It reminds me of the period of property that I grew up in. So yeah, it's quite appealing for me. But...
Good. Well, hopefully what's good for the goose is good for the gander. Let's look inside, shall we?
Thank you.
After pleasing first reactions, let's see if Jane can draw on her creativity and see the potential of the unfurnished interior. So, through a small vestibule, if you like, straight into the kitchen. And it's all gone quiet.
Not keen walking straight into a kitchen. I mean, I like the period features, like the lovely bits of exposed wood, but I've got to get over the concept of walking straight into the kitchen.
Sure. What about size-wise?
Size-wise, not too bad.
These aren't great reactions here from Jane, are they?
No. I quite like it, and having the range there that's a real feature, very unique.
Well, have you ever cooked on a range before? I know you're a keen cook.
I haven't cooked on a range, so that would be a new experience.
Let's look at this first room.
Thank you.
Jane's slightly downbeat, but can we stoke up her imagination next door? I know you have a need for an office.
Absolutely. It's certainly space-wise quite good. There's logistic problems with all these radiators here and how you'd cope with them for putting in your office equipment, because suddenly walls have been taken up almost on 3 sides. I mean, I like the lightness. It's quite a nice light room, so that's good, and it's got a nice aspect out onto the garden.
Well, I'm just considering, it depends if the other reception room has got a feature fireplace, because a feature fireplace would be lovely in a sitting room.
Good point. At the other end of the house is another even more impressive fireplace and the option for a bit of remodelling. Now, Georgie, you mentioned the fireplace in the first reception room. I think it's bigger and better in my opinion.
Yeah, that is quite impressive, isn't it?
Now, Jane, what about this as your reception room? Yay or nay?
First impressions, got a nice focal point of the fire.
Yeah.
The stone flooring is quite nice, although I think by the time you get a sofa in here and a bit of furniture, it is a little bit on the tiny side.
Do you remember this morning you said you wouldn't mind getting your hands on a bit of a project? Now, this house isn't registered with the estate agent as listed.
Yes.
Now, I'm suggesting maybe potentially turning the garage into office space.
OK, that actually has a lot of merit. Sounds good?
And you know, you're smiling again now. You realise that, don't you? Tucked away behind the fireplace is a utility area and shower room. Plus, there's a nicely designed conservatory with garden views. Upstairs are 4 bedrooms. 2 singles with exposed beams separated only by a stud wall, useful if Jane fancied making them one again. There's also a large double with a featured chimney breast and double aspect windows. But the master really raises the roof. OK, now I know it's difficult to imagine if a bedroom is suitable or not without any furniture in it, but that's exactly what I'm asking you to do.
OK.
What do you think?
I'm very impressed by this beautiful vaulted ceiling.
Good.
It does add space, doesn't it? It makes it quite spacious.
I applaud your positivity. I tell you what, let's have a quick peek into the bathroom, because that was surprisingly big. Just after you, from the left.
I like this room.
It's big, isn't it? I'm glad you like this room.
I love the character of the wood here.
Yeah.
And I just like the character of the room. So this would be a winner for a bathroom.
The property as a whole is awash with original features, which Jane seems to appreciate, although I'm not sure it's fueling her overall enthusiasm for the house. However, the garden is an extremely generous half-acre plot, subdivided into different zones, including a large vegetable garden with greenhouses and a range of small outbuildings. Beyond the boundary hedging are splendid rural views, one of Jane's must-haves. Now, this is a very big garden, isn't it?
Yes, yes, a very nice size, and with a nice south aspect.
Now, you're surrounded by farmland, but similar to the thatched house, you don't get to see a great deal of it at the moment. Would you want to change that?
I think so. I think if you're going to be in the countryside, it'd be quite nice to break through and see the fields.
Sure. I obviously get the feeling this house isn't for you, but I'd like to know how much you think it's on the market for.
I would think possibly about 350, 400,000.
Georgie?
With the amount of land that's here, I'm going to be a bit more generous. I'm going to say 380.
Not particularly generous. This house is on the market, and it's just come on the market, what, 4 weeks ago, at £450,000. But I think that your guesses represent the fact that it's just not for you.
More than likely.
Yeah, OK. Well, look, I think you should still go back inside and have a look around the house, for as much as anything else, to hopefully help you find out whether or not period properties like this are for you. Catch you later. Under budget at £450,000, this cottage is full of original features, but still leaves enough money for some small-scale renovations. As it stands, it offers Jane 2 reception rooms and a conservatory, 4 bedrooms, a double garage which could convert to an office, and just shy of ½ an acre of garden with those all-important countryside views.
Well, I definitely like the idea of moving the front door to make use of that little room.
I think that's a good result. And then you could probably use this space as a larder.
Yeah, make the most of it. Yeah.
Absolutely. It's got some quite nice features in this room. Wood beam here and the range cooker there.
This house has got some plus points and some minus points for me. I like the exterior brickwork. I like the wood in the old part of the house, with lovely beams and the tiled floors. But unfortunately, I feel the rooms are all a little bit small, and even if I knocked some through to make a slightly larger room, which I think I'd struggle to do in the main rooms, I just don't think I'd be able to achieve what I wanted to achieve here.
Well, what's worrying me about this property is I just don't think it has enough space for the entertaining that Jane wants to do. However, it is a very unique house with the different eras of period features. But overall, I don't think it's a contender for Jane.
All done?
Yes.
We're still smiling, which is the main thing. End of a long day. So, to the car and I'll take you back. As evening falls over the Norfolk countryside, our first day of house hunting draws to a close. With a maximum budget of £500,000, Jane is resolutely determined to make the leap from busy Romford to the rural heartlands of Norfolk. With the trusted guidance of her niece Georgie, Jane seemed to warm to the garden and room sizes of our first property. But next, our mystery house really fires her up. I'm dying to hear what you make of this.
Love it.
Do you?
Yeah.
At last. And I go full steam ahead on a magnificent Norfolk invention. Well, I think yesterday got off to a pretty good start, almost too good. Thatch houses, they're not everybody's cup of tea, but I think Jane and Georgie really warmed to the fact that whilst it had a period look to it, it gave them the modern interiors inside. Conversely, in the afternoon, the period farmhouse with its extensions, well, left them both pretty cold. Now today is another glorious start to the day and we're off to see the mystery house. Now, as ever, I asked my house hunters to expect the unexpected, although with this particular mystery property, I think it's going to give them something they've asked for, but they haven't yet seen. Are there any facets of a property that you said you'd like to see that you haven't yet seen, do you think?
Possibly back to the open plan living, a kitchen leading through into a breakfast area. So you've got that sort of communal environment.
We'll hold on to that thought as we head to the mystery house in the coastal village of Bacton, which, along with its dramatic beach, boasts some impressive architecture, including an array of thatched buildings and the 12th century ruins of Broomholm Priory, once a famous site of pilgrimage. Our mystery property has ready-made potential for Jane to earn an income, but it will require her to be open-minded as there's a nearby road. So, mystery property time. What do you think of what you see so far?
I love the colour, I love the pan-tiled roof, and I've always loved Georgian houses because they have lovely big windows. I think this is a very pretty garden.
Yeah?
Very pretty garden. Looking lovely in the dappled light, and this tree has got just wonderful character.
The willow is great, isn't it?
And it's not a difficult garden to look after, is it?
But there are compromises littered about this house.
Okay.
And I think, first of all, it's not in the remote, quiet, idyllic location that you formally asked for. So what do you think about being in the village?
Well, I want to be the heart of the community.
Yeah.
So I have quite a strong checklist, and it may be that at the end of the day I have to compromise on certain factors.
You obviously have a front door, but we're going to go through the side entrance, OK? Follow
Lovely.
me. Dating back to the late 18th century, our mystery property has been greatly extended over the years. So inside provides the space, but not necessarily the contemporary feel Jane was after. Bit of a creaky door. Now, I'm dying to hear what you make of this.
Love it.
Do you?
Yeah.
At last. But hopefully we've learnt a little bit along the way of what you like, and I was hoping this was the open plan feel you're after.
It certainly is. It is a fantastic kitchen, isn't it?
Yeah. Is this your taste?
I think so. Yes, yes, I do like it. Very nice.
I think it's a gorgeous kitchen. I mean, the style of it is in keeping with the period of the property.
Yeah. This is going well, isn't it? Let's take a quick scoot around the ground floor, because there's a few surprises for us. Let me just squeeze past you here. Thanks. So we have obviously some office space.
Yeah, do you think it's big enough, Jane?
It's compact, possibly not quite big enough for what my needs would be.
Well, there are options elsewhere, so bear that in mind.
Thank you.
A more formal style of dining in here, I think.
Certainly.
Very sophisticated.
And that Georgian sophistication continues. Now then, as a living room, how do we find this?
I like this room. I like the size of the room. This is the proportions I'm looking for.
Is it? Right. So is this excited, Jane?
Yeah, definitely, yeah.
Good. All right.
And one of the things I notice is I don't hear the traffic from the road.
No. Now, it's not everybody's cup of tea, UPVC double glazing, but that's certainly doing the job, isn't it? Well, look, this is just about Jane and her relaxing new way of life. Next door gives you a completely different option, so follow me. Now, there are other entrances into this part of the property, but if you throw your eyes back yonder, you'll see a self-contained small kitchen. Obviously, here's the living room with an ensuite bedroom off.
Wow.
So you can have this as just letting accommodation, get some income from it. I mean, cast your mind back to yesterday morning, so you might want to diversify. But also, if you wanted to maybe look after your guests even more, you've got the option of providing B&B accommodation elsewhere in the house as well.
Sounds good, because I really wanted the house to work for me, and so that sounds a really good idea.
I mean, alternatively, if you didn't want to go down that route, again, I think the flexibility of this house allows you to have this as your main work area, and then your colleagues can make their own lunch there and what have you. It's up to you, isn't it?
Absolutely. Gives me the real flexibility.
The annex also benefits from a superb ensuite, as do 3 of the 4 bedrooms upstairs. There's one impeccable double with its own light, bright shower room, and another double with an ensuite of a similar size. Next door, there's a single, currently used as a laundry room, and the master is finished to an equally high standard. Now this is your master bedroom of 3 good-sized doubles.
I love it. I wanted to have a view out my window, and I think you get a nice view of the trees here, your perfect size room, and the house is immaculate.
It really is, isn't it?
But everything has been finished so well, you know, a lot of love and care has gone into this.
Even though Jane only asked for 2 bedrooms, the size and grandeur of our mystery house doesn't seem to be fazing her in the least. Outside, the rear garden is a real oasis of calm, with uninterrupted views of the field beyond. Now then, obviously you've got that huge foregarden, but this is a lot more private and secluded, isn't it?
It certainly is.
Uninterrupted views. But this field, I think there's a small road, and then you've got the sea. What do you think?
I think this is a great space. It's a big garden, and you could do so much more with it as well. I mean, it's a beautiful water feature. And it is a large water feature, but there's still plenty of space to do other things with the garden.
Good. So, try pricing it then, Jane.
I think it is at the top end of my budget. I think it's about 500,000.
OK. Georgie?
I'm going to go a little less. I'm going to say 475.
OK. Spot on. It's on the market for £500,000. Well, now is your opportunity, and I bet you can't wait to get back inside, discover all those other bedrooms, maybe pick one for yourself, Georgie. All right?
Lovely.
See you in a bit. Well, to quote Jane, it's tickety-boo. Can't see more than that. Bang on Jane's maximum budget at £500,000, our mystery house seems to be a hit, despite it being on a road. As it stands, it gives her an open-plan kitchen dining area, 4 bedrooms, an annex with holiday-let potential, and a garden with those all-important views.
The house is delightful. It works beautifully. All the rooms are in tickety-boo order, really lovely, beautifully furnished. I love the lightness, the airiness. I like the fact we've got 2 gardens. I like the fact that there is a revenue income potential from the property. That's actually put a big tick. And I like the fact it would achieve everything that I would wish to achieve from a house. So, yes, I think it's a very promising option here.
It really is a beautiful home. A lot of love and care has gone into it, and the finishes are immaculate. It's spacious. The accommodation at the back was a real surprise, and it's fantastic that it's ready to go as a business. So I'm quite interested to see whether Jane would consider putting in an offer on this place. Ah, here you are.
I was happy for you to take as long as you wanted, then. It's rather nice here. Are you all done?
Certainly am.
Let's go.
OK.
Norfolk's landscape is renowned for its agricultural heritage, but there is also a surprising link to Britain's industrial past when it was pioneering steam engineering. Just outside Norwich, the Strumpshaw Steam Museum was started in the mid-1950s by local landowner Wesley Key. It's still owned by the family and is home to some remarkable engines that were manufactured in the county right up to the 1920s. I've come to meet the curator, Tony Rumball, to find out more about this huge and diverse collection. Hi, Tony.
Hello.
How you doing?
Good, thanks.
What a fascinating place. I mean, looking around, I mean, you can obviously see your traditional steam engine, but there are certain pieces of apparatus that you don't even associate with steam engines,
Yeah, we've got sort of even up to funfair rides that we're restoring at the moment. We've got all sorts of old-fashioned bits and bobs, really.
It's an Aladdin's cave, isn't it, of the industrial world? Can we take a look around?
Yeah, definitely. Let's
Great
go.
stuff. Among this treasure trove is a 100-ton beam engine, formerly used for pumping 7 million litres of water a day. And there are some fine examples of engineering feats made much closer to home. I must say, when I think of steam engines and steam power, obviously I think of the Industrial Revolution and cities like Manchester, Birmingham. Does Norfolk have any history or heritage here?
Well, Burrells are one of the biggest manufacturers of steam engine in the time, and we've got this one here and one outside, actually, in steam ready to go as well.
And what would that have been used for?
Well, Burrell made the whole range of different engines, from the agricultural engines to heavy haulage.
OK.
The whole lot, really.
Well, I'm dying to see it. From 1848 to 1928, Charles Burrell and Sons of Thetford were famous makers of steam traction engines, which were a common sight in the farmlands of Norfolk and across the country. Well, this one looks absolutely beautiful. What would this have been used for, then?
This should be used for thrashing corn on the farm and all the harvest stuff,
So it's a proper Norfolk engine. It was used locally on the Norfolk fields and built in Norfolk itself.
Yeah.
Right, so how old would this be, then?
This was built in 1901, so it's 110 years old.
Wow. And when would this have been used up until, do you think?
Probably about the 1930s.
So, obviously, I'm hoping we can take it out now, can we?
Yeah, we can take it for a spin now, yeah. If you just want to jump up there.
Right, OK. So I take it we've already got some coal on board. Is this primed and ready to go?
Yeah, this is ready to go.
OK, so can I steer?
Yeah.
Let's go, then.
Let's go.
During its lifetime, Burrell's made over 4,000 engines, many of which were exported overseas. Productivity peaked in 1913, when they completed over 104 engines. Engineering companies like them were enlisted in the war effort, making munitions and engines. But the onset of the Depression years spelled disaster for sales, meaning that in 1928 the Thetford factory was forced to close its doors. But they were built to stand the test of time, and it's a thrill to ride one. Now this is a boyhood dream. Well, it's now decision time for Jane, and it's a good job she's got Georgie to use as a soundboard, because I think it's between two properties, but they're both completely different and in very different locations. Let's find out what she wants to do next. So, Jane, has this trip looking at houses here in Norfolk cemented that this is a good idea for you?
Certainly has done. I mean, I love Norfolk. Scenery is beautiful. I've seen some new places that I haven't known before. And the weather has been fantastic, and you're seeing Norfolk in its full glory.
Yeah, it's at its best, isn't it? Certainly today and yesterday. So let's start with yesterday morning. The first house I took you to. Had some great reactions in that thatched house, didn't we?
It was. It was a lovely house. It was a sort of a chocolate box house, wasn't it?
Yeah.
But the garden was magnificent.
Yeah. This was the first time, Georgie, that I got to gauge Jane's reactions, and even not knowing Jane particularly well, I figured they were pretty good.
Yeah, definitely. I think Jane was quite surprised. She really warmed to it.
Because you reacted so well, I thought you'd get on pretty well in the farmhouse in the afternoon. Not as well as I hoped, though.
No, I mean, there were features in the farmhouse, like the nice flooring, and it was nice wooden exposed beams. But
Yeah.
the house just didn't work. The rooms were small, and I couldn't see the way you could open them up and make them work well.
Now, as you both know, the mystery property's there to perhaps challenge your expectations. This gave you a couple of facets that you'd mentioned before, such as a business opportunity. What do you think about that now?
With being a single person, it's a big house, and I love socialising. I like having people around. And I think there was a complete annex, which could be a revenue earner for me, or a granny flat if my grandmother came to stay.
Sure.
I like that very much. I like each of the rooms there. I love the proportion. I love the light in the place, and I like the fact it had 2 gardens.
Can you genuinely see your Auntie Jane being a landlady of a B&B, or part-time at least?
I think she'd lent herself to it quite well, actually, yeah.
Well, it's between 2 properties by the sounds of it. Do you have a favourite?
The last house, I think.
The mystery property?
Yes, I do.
Georgina, do you have a favourite?
I'd have to agree with Jane. The last property, the mystery house, was, yeah, my favourite of the 3.
Well, look, I think maybe go back for a second viewing then. Go to the beach. Go to the whole area and see if it is the place for you, because it is. That house seemed to be pretty much up your street. Please let us know how you get on. Thanks for all your help, Georgie, as well.
You're welcome.
You need to steer her now, don't you? Good luck.
Thank you very much indeed. It's been a great pleasure doing this.
Well, I think we had a bit of a wobble in the middle of our house search here in Norfolk. But by the sounds of it, according to Jane, the mystery property has really come up trumps here. I think, yeah, of course, it's in a new location and Jane needs to do a bit of research there. And hopefully she can find out even more in the second viewing. But she also seems really excited about the prospect of running her own business from home. This B&B idea, I think, would suit her down to the ground, especially with her hospitality skills. So I wish her all the very best of luck with the second viewing, and hopefully she can enjoy the warm embrace of being close to her family and friends here in Norfolk. See you next time. Jane loved the mystery property, but ultimately had concerns about its coastal position. However, she's just had an offer accepted on a cottage a bit further inland. So we wish her well with her move to Norfolk. Today, I'm in a county renowned for its waterways. Created in medieval times by men digging for peat, this county's system of dykes, rivers and broads is the largest stretch of wetland in England. Where am I? Find out in just a moment. In today's show, I'll be helping a businesswoman, accompanied by her niece, return to her family roots in the country. And finding her the right size house is just one of our many challenges.
I think by the time you get a sofa in here and a bit of furniture, it is a little bit on the tiny side.
But our mystery house throws other unexpected surprises into the mix.
I like this room. I like the size of the room.
Today, I'm in Norfolk. For almost 6 centuries, these 125 miles of waterways were crucial to the local economy, allowing goods to be ferried inland from the sea. Nowadays, though, as you might expect, it's tourism that pulls in the pennies for the county. And these broads attract around 7 million tourists here every year. If you're thinking of moving to Norfolk, you might be pleased to hear that the average price of a detached house in the county is around 6% below the national figure. Now, this is due in no small part to the geographical location of the county. If you live in the county town Norwich, then a commute to a major city such as London is fairly straightforward. But if you live further afield, you will struggle, certainly on a daily basis. But the perceived remoteness of Norfolk hasn't put people off living here. Last year alone, around 24,000 people found this county's charms simply irresistible. And here's an example of what's currently on the market. For just shy of £210,000, this converted Methodist chapel in Swanton Morley provides comfortable open-plan areas while still holding on to its original features, with an impressive galleried landing taking centre stage. Or for £598,000, there's this 6-bedroom barn conversion in Docking, whose high-spec open-plan kitchen flows through to a generous dining area with trademark vaulted ceilings and running theme. For deeper pockets, this impressive timber-clad barn conversion in Banham for £695,000 combines a harmonious mix of materials. from warm red brick in the kitchen to exposed beams in the studio. With a great selection of properties like that on the market and the chance that your money might stretch that little bit further, this could be promising news for today's house hunters. Let's meet them. Corporate event organiser Jane has roped in her niece Georgie to help her escape to the country, having spent the last 25 years in Romford, Essex. These two ladies have an incredibly strong bond and are certainly a dynamic duo.
Jane's a very vivacious character. She's very creative, actually, and has a lot of attention for detail, which is why she's so good at her job.
And Georgie is a very vivacious character. I wonder where she gets it from. And I think we've got a lot in similarity, haven't we? Similar interests, and I think it'll be great fun to be going to look for properties with Georgie.
Being close to family is key to Jane's move, and also important to Georgie.
Well, my dad lives in Norfolk as well, and obviously Grandma. We've got lots of aunts and great aunts and uncles in Norfolk. So whenever I get time off work, that's often where I tend to be. So it'd be great to have Jane there as well, because it would mean it'd be easier to see Jane now. And I'm looking forward to coming visiting in her new home, and hopefully I'll be able to come and stay. And Jane's fantastic at entertaining. She throws a wonderful party.
Besides wanting a property with plenty of character, Jane has a wish list that taps into her sociable lifestyle.
What I'm looking for is ideally open plan or rooms that connect, that work together. I really want a kitchen where I can have sort of people, friends round, and it's more informal area to entertain.